Hello, everyone, and welcome to Channel 18 TV News. I'm Don Julian. In the news, the Texas Department of Insurance on March the 6th reported that Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas has been ordered to pay an administrative penalty of $10 million and agreed to repay consumers for alleged delays in handling out-of-network emergency claims and incorrect information in consumer notices and marketing materials. Sulphur Springs Independent School Board approved a calendar for the 2020-2021 school year that looks very similar to this year's school calendar. Students will be reporting for classes beginning 8 a.m. Tuesday, August the 18th. The school day for students from pre-kindergarten through the 5th grade will end at 3:20 p.m. Middle and high school students' school days will conclude at 3:30 p.m. First 9-week grading period will end on October 9th, the second on December 18th, and the third on March the 5th. March 31st has been designated a Memorial Day holiday, which allows students to finish the spring semester on May 26th. And high school graduation will follow on May 28th. Sulphur Springs ISD will no longer have a 4-day weekend for Easter next year. Good Friday on April the 2nd of 2021 will still be a student holiday, but students won't have that following Monday off due to a conflict with the testing schedule. Instead of adding that holiday at another random time to provide 3 or 4 day weekends, students will have Friday, February 26th off to allow students and staff to attend and be involved in NETLA's Hopkins County Junior Market Livestock Show. Teachers had noted a lot of students out of class on that day this year, which makes holding classes for the rest of the students difficult. Also, some staff have students who participate in the show, so substitutes have to be found for their classes or other arrangements made for their child. Friday, October 23rd, will also still be Fall Festival Day in next year's school schedule. Additional school holidays for students will include November 23rd through the 27th for Thanksgiving break, December 21st through the 31st, and January 1st through the 5th for Christmas break, January 18th for Martin Luther King Day, March 8th through the 12th for spring break next year, and April 2nd for Good Friday. Sulphur Springs School District Board of Trustees approved 2 agreements and a grant application. They canceled the May 2nd trustee election and considered a number of personnel decisions during their March 6th meeting. 10 personnel changes were approved by the board following an executive session last Friday afternoon. The school board accepted notices of resignations from 7 SSISD employees and early notification of planned retirement from 3 educators. Among those submitting early notices of retirement were longtime Lamar Primary School principal Rowena Johnson, Lamar first grade teacher Tony Maddox, and high school special education teacher Kathleen Trammell. Resignations included by campus. We'll start with high school. Health Science Technology Education teacher Deanna McCoy, English teacher Patty Lading, and special education aide Jamie Funderburk. In the middle school, technology assistant Lisa Darlin. In Bowie Primary, 3rd grade teacher Adrian Washington, and district-wide science coordinator Karen Phillips, and licensed specialist in school psychology Cheryl Carnes. The school board also approved a number of contract extensions for certified and non-certified administrative personnel for the 2020, 2021, and 2021-2022 school years. The May 2nd trustees election was canceled. Incumbents Robin Vaughn and Robert Cody were the only candidates to file for a place on the May 2nd ballot to elect 2 school board members. Angela Edwards, Douglas Early Childhood Learning Center principal and Head Start director, asked the board to give her permission to apply for Head Start grant continuation. Edwards explained that the district is in year 2 of a 5-year grant period. District approval is required for the annual application to continue receiving funding for services. The board gave full approval for Edwards to submit the justification documentation to continue receiving grant funding for Head Start. The board was also asked to approve an agreement to allow Powell, Youngblood, and Taylor, LLP, to continue assisting the district in annual reporting and maintenance of existing agreements for limitation on appraised value of property for school district maintenance and operations taxes. Basically, districts have to have attorneys and consultants to deal with Chapter 313 tax agreements. The fees for their services are paid for not by the district, but by companies requesting those Chapter 313 tax agreements. That was explained by Mike Lamb. He also said the agreement between the district and Powell, Youngblood, and Taylor LLP would allow the firm to manage district interest regarding Chapter 313 agreements. A vehicle pursuit through Sulphur Springs Friday evening resulted in 2 crashes. Sulphur Springs Police Department vehicle ran into a utility pole and the suspect vehicle crashed into a residence. No serious personal injuries were reported in connection with the pursuit, according to Sulphur Springs Police. Chase started around 7:15 p.m. Friday when a Sulphur Springs police officer attempted to stop a vehicle. The driver, instead of stopping, accelerated. The patrol officer continued following the vehicle along Bill Bradford Road. The Chrysler vehicle, a black Chrysler 300, then turned onto Elm. As the police officer attempted the turn, he lost control of his patrol vehicle, striking a utility pole, according to the Sulphur Springs Police Chief Jason Ricketson. The Chrysler continued on Elm Street at a high rate of speed to Whitworth Street. The car then left the road as the driver lost control of the car, crashing into the bedroom of a residence on Lilly. The driver then was believed to have fled on foot, as there was no one in or around the vehicle when officers arrived, that according to Sulphur Springs Police. The officer sustained some minor injuries. No one was reported to have sustained injuries inside the home. That according to Chief Ricketson. Police investigation into the circumstances leading up to and surrounding that vehicle pursuit and the suspect driver is ongoing. Anyone who has additional information regarding the chase and driver is encouraged to contact Sulphur Springs Police Department 903-885-7602. In sports, the Wildcats baseball team seemed to let one slip away Saturday as they led 3-2 late, but then allowed 3 runs to Dallas Lake Highlands in a 4-3 loss in the championship game of the Wiley East 2020 Raider Classic on Saturday. To get to the championship game, the Wildcats tied Frisco Liberty and then defeated Lake Highlands, North Forney, and Frisco Liberty. The Wildcats' season record is now 7-3-1, and the Wildcats open district play at home Tuesday night at Wildcat Park. After a slow start this season, the Lady Cats softball team is now 8-8 after a good showing in the Wiley Varsity Softball Tournament last week. Lady Cats won 4 and lost 2 in that tournament. They defeated McKinney Boyd, Burleson Centennial, Mesquite Horn, and North Mesquite, and dropped games to Allen and Saxe. The Lady Cats are scheduled to play at Sherman in a non-district game on Tuesday evening. Lady Cats soccer team rallied from a 2-1 deficit to score 2 goals in the last 22 minutes of regulation to take a 3-2 district win over Mount Pleasant in a hard-fought physical game Friday night at Gerald Prim Stadium. Senior Ashley Noe scored for the Lady Cats to tie the score at 2-2 with 21:58 left to play in the match. Leading goal came from freshman Rebecca Stanley, who put a free kick into the net from 34 yards out with just 2:34 left to play. The Lady Cats ran out the clock to take a 3-2 win. First half ended in a 1-1 tie. The Lady Cats scored first in the game at 11:58 of the first half when Haley Robinson put a shot on goal that hit the left post. The rebound came right to Stanley, who tucked the ball just inside the right post. Mount Pleasant evened the match on a corner kick that Lady Cats goalkeeper McKenna Gamble caught in the net. Mount Pleasant then took the lead early in the second half at 33-24 on a penalty kick after a call of a foul in the box. With the win, the Lady Cats move into a tie with the Lady Tigers. Both teams are 6-2 in district play. The Lady Cats season record improves to 10-8-1. They have won 3 straight district games. Next, the Lady Cats will play Texas High at home on senior night on Tuesday night. Wildcats soccer team went into Mount Pleasant on Friday night with a chance to move into a first-place tie with the always tough Tigers. However, drama never materialized as Mount Pleasant scored 3 first-half goals and added 3 more in the second half to take a 6-0 win. Everyone expected a very close game, especially after the Tigers only scored a 1-0 win at Gerald Prim Stadium back on February 18th. Wildcats coach Alexi Upton said red cards and injuries cost the Wildcats a lot. They were especially impacted on the defensive end. He added the Wildcats just did not play well. He said missing players did not help. Coach Upton said the loss was a great learning time for the team. The setback drops the Wildcats to 6-2 in district play, 2 games behind Mount Pleasant with 2 district games to play. Next, the Wildcats play at Texas High, and that'll be on Tuesday. Wildcats senior Sadadrian Day Hall was named district MVP, and Wildcats senior Cameron Kahn was co-offensive MVP on the District 15-5A All-District basketball team released Saturday by Wildcats basketball coach Clark Cipoletta. Senior Grayson McClure and junior Boo Wilkerson were named first team All-District. Junior Lamadrick Johnson was named second team All-District. Sophomore Justin Hare and senior Justin Brock were named honorable mention All-District. The All-District team was selected by the district's coaches meeting recently. Coaches were not able to vote for their own players. The Wildcats finished second in the district race with a record of 8-2. The Wildcats were 28-9 for the season, and they made it all the way to the regional quarterfinal game. Former Wildcats football standout Johnny McSheffrey has been named the new head football coach at Commerce. Coach McSheffrey replaces Cody Farrell, who left Commerce to become athletic director at Hallsville. Coach McSheffrey was promoted from Commerce defensive coordinator to head coach on March the 3rd. He's been on the Tigers staff for several years. Prior to that, Coach McSheffrey was a Wildcats football assistant. Coach McSheffrey was a standout on the Wildcats football team that won the Class 4A Division II state championship in 2008. Coach McSheffrey played college ball at West Texas A&M in Canyon. North Hopkins Panthers baseball team got a win over Celeste 8-3 Saturday, and then lost a close game to Tom Bean 10-8 on Saturday, and both games were played at North Hopkins. Against Celeste, the Panthers scored 7 runs in their very first at bat. Jeffrey Stewart got the pitching win for the Panthers, throwing all 6 innings, allowing only 3 hits and 1 earned run with 7 strikeouts and 4 walks. Jesse Rivera was 2 for 4 with a run scored and an RBI, and he had a stolen base. Gavin Buccieri was 1 for 3 with a run scored and an RBI. Bryson Gillespie scored 2 runs, had an RBI, got 3 walks, and stole 4 bases. Stewart scored a run, got a walk, and stole a base. Carson Jenkins was 1 for 2 with a run scored, a walk, and a stolen base. And Tate Myers was 1 for 2 with a run scored and a walk. Robert Perry scored a run, had an RBI, and also walked twice. And Easton Lewis was 1 for 3 with an RBI. Against Tom Bean, the Panthers fell behind early, and they trailed 7-2 after the top of the 7th. That was the top of the 5th inning behind 7-2, and then North Hopkins rallied to take an 8-7 lead going into the top of the 7th, only to see Tom Bean reclaim the lead with 3 runs. Tom Bean ended up winning 10-8. Both teams had 10 hits and made no errors. For the Panthers, Bryson Gillespie was 3 for 3, 3 runs scored and 2 RBIs with 4 stolen bases, a double, and a walk. Carson Jenkins was 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 doubles. Jesse Rivera was 1 for 2 with 3 runs scored, 2 walks, and a stolen base. Jeffrey Stewart was 1 for 2 with an RBI and a walk. Yuri Avdibegovic walked and stole a base. Tate Myers was 1 for 4 with a run scored. Kevin Clement was 1 for 4 with an RBI. Robert Perry was 1 for 2 with a run scored and a walk. Dakota Smith walked, and Kevin Clement got the pitching loss, throwing 3 2/3 innings, allowing 5 hits and 5 runs with 5 strikeouts and 6 walks. Bryson Gillespie went 3 1/3 innings, allowing 5 hits and 5 runs with 7 strikeouts and 3 walks. And that's Channel 18 TV News. I'm Don Julian. Thank you for joining me, and so long, everybody.